The OPPO F5 was a disappointing smartphone despite having great cameras on board. My experience with it was literally trash. However, this round, the OPPO F7 is now back, succeeding the OPPO F5 with much better specs on board, and I've been using happily for the past 2 weeks. So my thoughts on it, here it goes. The F7's design language doesn't need any introduction. It has the same face like every other notch phones, and when you put it next to a Vivo V9, these two phones are so identical until you realize that they're running on different Android skins. The real difference here is on the back, which our review unit sports a nice black cover with a polygon diamond design that looks extremely unique. The good news is it wouldn't shatter because it is made of plastic. The bad news? It doesn't resist fingerprints. Aesthetically, the OPPO F7 is definitely much improved from the F5. The corners aren't as sharp, and it has a good weight distribution that doesn't make it feel uncomfortable to hold. The headphone jack is still present, and OPPO is still keeping the micro USB port with no support for Volt fast charging. Though the notch can be disturbing for some, the F7's display has great color reproduction and contrast. Visibility is also acceptable when using outdoors. I'm also extremely satisfied with the volume and sound quality produced by the mono loudspeaker. It can get really loud when maxed out with very minimal distortion, which is definitely one you can use to watch a series on Netflix or listen music on Spotify without headphones. One significant improvement on the OPPO F7's user experience is ColorOS, which I previously criticized for resembling iOS too much when it comes to certain interactions. But this time, OPPO has made some changes and introduced some new features. The F7 runs on ColorOS 5 based on Android 8.1, and the phone received the April 2018 security patch during the review period. The UI is still technically the same with no easy way to change wallpaper, rearrange icons and widgets, but the system toggles are now finally back in place in the notification shade where it actually belongs. The default app and system icons have been updated to have lesser resemblance to iOS as well. One of the features I appreciate is improved face unlock, which only activates when you tap on the screen. This is pretty useful as I really don't like jumping into the home screen right away when I merely wanted to check out incoming notifications on the lock screen. There's also a ton of security features, and one of it is to prevent apps from retrieving personal information such as call history, contacts, messages, and calendar events. Speaking of the notch, OPPO hasn't done well to optimize certain apps to fill the screen properly. For instance, Instagram stories have the top buttons and progress bar crop, which isn't great. But this doesn't mean OPPO hasn't taken advantage of the notch in full screen apps, as it introduces a full screen multitasking feature. The two corners between the notch turns into shortcuts for launching messaging apps on top of the full screen app and quick functions such as screen recording, screen capture, and blocking incoming notifications. Overall, the user experience on the OPPO F7 has been significantly improved from its predecessor. There's no signs of slowdowns and lags, all thanks to the more powerful MediaTek Helio P60 processor and 4GB of RAM. Games such as PUBG Mobile can be played on balanced graphics setting, which is usually not achievable on other smartphones of the same class. Let's talk about the front-facing camera, because the OPPO F7 is all about taking beautiful selfies with the highest resolution front camera at 25 megapixels. Well, OPPO is once again teasing AI on its Skin Beautify technology and some of its other camera features, which actually does a pretty decent job if you want to hide the ugly parts of your face. But it really is more than just skin beautifying, as the front camera's increased sensor size and hardware HDR brings significant improvements to selfies taken in low light with lower noise levels, sharper detail, and accurate white balance. The F7's main camera doesn't disappoint either. The 60-megapixel f1.8 sensor is able to capture photos with very impressive color saturation and dynamic range when used in good lighting. While it tends to increase ISO sensitivity in low light, overall, this is one of the best mid-range phone camera I've come across this year. OPPO smartphones have rare cases of poor battery endurance, and the OPPO F7 easily lasted a full working day on a single charge for my heavy social media usage. The only thing that I'm truly disappointed is the exclusion of the company's Volt quick charging technology. Even if it is reserved for the company's higher-end phone models, I would really appreciate if OPPO would stop using the old 5V 2A charging rate on a modern mid-range device. Wireless performance is also improved on the OPPO F7, as it now supports 802.11 AC speeds. Frequent travelers will also appreciate the 3-slot SIM tray that accepts 2 nano SIM cards without using up the micro SD slot. The OPPO F7 is the best performing selfie phone I've ever come across to date. Though it has its fair share of shortcomings, they aren't deal breakers at the very least. The F7 retails at 1399 ringgit, posing a direct competition to devices like the Vivo V9 and the recently announced Nova 3E, which the latter two are also very compelling selfie phones that you should also check out if you're shopping for one. Do watch our reviews on them at the channel and tell us what you think about them in the comments. As for now, thanks for watching, stay tuned for more tech videos coming right up, and be sure to subscribe to our channel, follow us on the usual social media channels, and I will catch you soon in the next one.